and running and running and running and running. Let's get started. Okay, is everybody muted? Oh, yeah. Everyone is muted and ready. Ready to welcome music like a face after you're a piece of All right, here we are. Welcome to, I'm looking for my camera and I can't find it. There it is. Welcome to the Sports Porch Black and Gold edition. We are live all over the world on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and Instagram. Thank you for being here.
Thank y'all.
Man, what a big week this was for Pittsburgh sports because, of course, we were served our first helping of crack for the NFL, which is the draft.
The draft is fun. The draft is fun. And Steve, did you attend that Steeler party?
I was there at the Steeler party on Saturday.
Wait a minute. Let me get a couple things in here, and then we got to talk about this.
Okay, yeah, let's keep the people waiting.
We are also going to drop the Sports Porch Black and Gold podcast right after the show on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts, and that should be down there so you can read it if you're watching live. And there was something else I was right now on Radio PGH. Radio PGH is our live, our internet radio station.
Sister station.
And I'm going to put that in the comments. If you can't watch us, you can always stream the show live.
Sure can.
Just bookmark this stream in the comments live on Radio PGH, Pittsburgh's first and only internet radio station that is 100% independent because it's us.
That's right. We are independent people.
Independent.
It's us. It's us. So did you bring your cards?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, show me one.
Oh,
we made cards. One? We made cards. Yeah, Steve went to the cards. You know, cards.
Oh, yes.
Not the invitation to the party.
Yes.
The cards.
Here you
can I have a card, please? Look at that.
You can call me whenever you want. I am a host.
That's nice.
Of a show.
I mean,
it's pretty nice.
I'll tell you what.
I like
the back. Yeah, I like the back, but
I like the front better.
I'm telling.
I like the front. Yeah, I think the front.
You like that better, right there?
I like them both. It's nice. The only thing I don't like is because it's black. You get the edges and they get a little roughed up. Then you get that white through. But
how would you rate this as a card? A T9, a T1? What is it? How do they rate baseball cards?
No, it's definitely not gem mint.
Yeah, it's not gem mint.
No, it's not gem mint. I would give it probably a 7 on as far as the quality, but I think the look of it is definitely a 9.
The key question, were any of the cards handed out?
That would be a negative.
No, you didn't get any FaceTime.
There was this guy does to me. He's like, look, hey, I'm going to a draft party. Can you get me some cards by tomorrow? And I'm like,
can we just talk about the draft?
Yeah,
sure,
I guess we can.
Sure.
Okay.
I actually thought it was going to be a smaller party. And it turned out to be a much bigger party.
It's huge.
The kind of party that you can't. Okay. So Marvin Hamilton on Facebook is already grading the draft as an A+.
You go, Marvin.
Well, I will say
Marvin first gave it an A, then he gave it an A+.
I will say just
maybe he meant to give it an A+.
Amongst all of the reporters and publications. You're gonna pretty frequently find the Steelers in the top 5, if not number 1, 2, or 3 in many of the outtakes there. So they've been highly rated.
Well, and I think the reason they are highly rated was, one, because they got the picks that they had highly rated in both the first and second rounds, which is pretty rare, I think. And actually, their third round pick too, they really did want that Roman Wilson, which we'll talk about a little bit more detail.
Yeah.
But I think, personally, it's so easy to get overhyped when you pick players that you're supposed to pick and they're the players that you want. But the reality is, the experts say they're all good, but do we really know?
We don't. Like I was just saying, there's the top 10 teams, let's say, get an A in the draft, and half of those players are garbage.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But I think you can rank, who they picked and why they picked them.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the Steelers get an A or an A+ ranking.
Yeah, and we're going to go right to that right now. Cindy Joseph says definitely going to be a great year. And
well, Cindy, you might want to look at the schedule before you say that.
Yeah, it is true. The quarterbacks that are coming in here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some serious ballers coming in here to play. Yeah.
Some people think we have the toughest schedule in the NFL.
We might actually. Really? Kyle is in the house, the porch. Kyle, how you doing?
Kyle.
What I want to do here is I'm going to put up. We're actually going to go over the first 5 draft picks.
Yeah. All right,
let's do that. So I love this pick. I absolutely love this pick. Troy Fautanu, round 1, pick 20. They talked about this guy all, for a month, but they didn't talk about him the way they talked about Mims,
right.
And it was kind of one of those sneaky picks, offensive tackle from Washington. I love the pick. The reason I love the pick is, first of all, I think he's a good player. And I think
that's incredible analysis.
I know. I'm trying to do 18 things at
why
once.
don't I take this over?
Yeah, let's
have you do your 18.
Look, what I love about him, I'll make it really quick.
Yeah.
He's a lifelong Steelers fan, and it was like watching him come here. It was like the biggest dream that could have ever been granted for this kid. And if he's anything like the player they say he is, you've got his heart.
Almost like a wish from the Grand Schwabini.
There you go.
Which it was.
Maybe that's what it was.
Thank you, Grand Schwabini.
So go for it, HJ. Tell us, how do you feel?
Look, I think with this pick, you can't go wrong because there are 2 reasons for it. One, you can't have too many offensive linemen.
Yes.
They just drafted Broderick Jones last year, so their offensive line's going to be young. And 2, he played for Washington. I don't really know. I mean, Washington wasn't a great team this year. I know they were kind of in it for a while, so I can't speak for the team. But look, this guy moved to the offense. He basically wasn't really too much of a football player. Then he found the offensive line, and he was like, "Oh, I love this." Why does he love it? He loves the physical nature of the position, which is a must if you're going to play the offensive line. 2, he loves the Pittsburgh Steelers. And 3, he idolizes Troy Polamalu.
Right.
So that means, for me, he's got a really good work ethic.
Right.
That means he's got really good character. Look, when he came to the draft, who did he bring? He brought his mom.
Well, and like 500 other people too, which is, I mean, he's Polynesian.
He brought his family with him.
Right.
I mean, so that just goes to show you, like, he's a family guy. Like, he knows what really matters in life, and he's got a strong base there. So I think the character of this guy is strong. I mean, I just hope, honestly, for me, it comes down to, I hope he plays, because you know how they are with Dan Moore Jr.
Yeah.
Now they've got 2 tackles. They could put Troy on the right, and they could put Broderick Jones on the left.
Yep.
And Dan Moore Jr. is a backup now.
Yep.
And I wouldn't cut him. I would keep him, because you don't know injuries and everything.
They could also play him at guard and then kick him out the tackle later.
Yeah, but why would you do that? You got Daniels. There. There's no reason to put him at guard and then kick him out the tackle. I know you can, but to me, it's like if you're going to let a guy sink and swim, can't sink and swim at the same time.
Well, you can if you're a really bad swimmer.
If he's a bad offensive guard, he might sink. But he might be a really good offensive tackle, and therefore he'd be swimming. I'd rather have him swim.
Very few good swimmers sink, but sometimes there's a riptide.
Okay, so Mike Lawrence is back. Thanks for being here, Mike. And
Mike.
We got to get to this. I can't remember the prediction. Did the Grand Schwabini's first round pick come true?
No, but it was pretty close.
Yeah.
It was Amarius Mims, and I believe he went 1 or 2 picks before.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mims was gone, so he couldn't have gone.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
Yeah, but we thank you for remembering that,
Pretty
because
close.
we have to hold the Grand Schwabini to account.
Well, the Grand Schwabini was in the right stratosphere.
That is
It was offensive line.
that is right.
For sure. So I think for that reason, it's a good pick. What do you think, Mark?
I think it's a great pick. I am 100% sure if he wasn't gone, that the Eagles were going to pick him at number 22.
Yeah.
He was a guy that they were really high on, and that actually was going to be their plan, was going to be to start him at guard, and then when Lane Johnson retires, kick him out to tackle.
Yeah. He's that type of guy you could do that with. I just don't prefer to do that with offensive linemen. It's like, just put him out on the tackle.
Well,
but you know the Steelers will somehow find a way to mess it up.
Although in your scenario, I mean, it makes more sense. I mean, you don't have Lane Johnson out there. You got Dan Moore.
Dan Moore Jr. Yeah.
Right. So all I have to say is I think it's a great pick. It's a really good pick, solid pick. They need to bolster the lines. They need to get younger on the lines, for ultimately when, they can really challenge, let's say, for a Super Bowl, you need, right? You need guys in the prime of their career. All I have to say is I think it's a great pick.
What is going on?
What? Yeah, I have a little interference from Instagram. I apologize.
Technical director.
I apologize.
Well, I'm sorry, people from Instagram. You must not interfere with.
Sorry, it is. Let's give the technical director a little break, though. Too. It is hard to do this. He's also working a full-time job now, so he doesn't have time to dedicate to his technical skills.
I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm back.
I thought maybe he was watching us on Instagram while we were doing it.
I was looking for comments, and then I was trying. It doesn't matter what I was doing.
Let's go to the second round.
I had already said I like the pick. Okay, so Troy Fautanu. I think he's going to be a big contributor to this team. Next pick. Now, was this the third round?
Third round.
No,
pick.
it was round
second.
Round. This was the second. That's right. This was the second.
And they had
right.
third round picks.
Right. Zach Fraser. Man, I'll tell you what. I love this pick. Round 2, they need a center. They got what is, considered 1 or 2 center in the draft.
Yeah.
This whole Herbig thing, we've talked about this. Smoke screen. They knew that if he was available, I think they got lucky. Yeah. And he was available, but it was kind of one of those things where because they could have taken him first. But, they didn't. They took Fautanu, and then they got lucky, and Fraser was there. And if they didn't pull the trigger on that, that would have been ridiculous. So, I think that I think it's great.
Yeah, I think they had a little bit of luck that he did fall to them, but the reality is nobody else really needed a center, and he's a true center.
Right.
So you can't move him anywhere else. Like he was going to play center no matter what. So that was a little bit lucky, because I think the Steelers probably would have moved up to take him if they had to, because they really like it. And let's face it, they need a center. So the fact that he's from West Virginia, they could bus him in. So all his parents are Steelers fans. He grew up a Steeler fan.
Knows a thing or two about moonshine.
Yeah, I'm sure he knows about that.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing in Pittsburgh.
You want to know what I think the best thing about him is? Do you want to know?
He's nasty.
Well, I mean, they talked about his wrestling skills. I don't know about all that. I don't know how much wrestling plays into being able to wrestle somebody in the trenches. Maybe it's true. I think there is something about leverage for sure.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. So I think that is absolutely true. But I like the fact that he wears 54. You know why? You know who wore 52?
Mike Webster.
You know who wore 53?
Marquise Pouncey.
Yeah. So you know who's going to wear 54?
Zach Fraser.
The next guy is going to bring us a Super Bowl.
I can't believe I got all that right. Yeah. I'm a real Steelers fan now.
Yes, you are.
I am. I'm a real Steelers fan.
By the way,
we need to have a party.
It has to end there, because I don't think they're ever going to give out John Kolb's number. That's 55.
Oh, yeah. Well, all right. Now, Rob Hemingway, we'll get to this. He's watching on Facebook. His comment is, I really think these off-season pickups and the draft got us a little excited. Do you think they need another receiver? And we'll address that in a little bit. Of course they do.
Well, I mean, we're going to talk about the guy they drafted first before we talk about what else they might.
Yeah. So Zach Fraser, what are your thoughts, Schwaber?
I think it's a real good pick.
Okay, we're done.
I think that it wouldn't shock me if Tomlin kind of goes outside the norm and actually starts him this year.
I think you're right.
I think he's got a chance to start. I think he's got a chance to start, and I think he's got a chance to be very good.
Yeah.
I don't think they like Herbig that much.
No.
I think you're right. It was a total smoke.
That was a total smoke screen. There was no way they were rolling with him.
Let's move on to the next one.
Okay. Yeah. Steve wants to turn on the hockey Jesus.
I can see it in the glare.
Oh, all right. And Kyle, it continues to try to bait me and say the thing they need to do is call the Pittsburgh property to get Diva to get a house in the
true.
Yeah,
That's
well,
an excellent point.
Maybe we'll get her picture in later, but I don't want to overdo it. We're on the draft right now, and that is important.
Yeah.
Don't worry, there's time for the Diva.
Okay, Roman Wilson, wide receiver from Michigan, round 3. My thoughts on this were. I like him. I mean, they needed
that's great analysis.
And you like it.
I mean, you don't get this anywhere. Just here on the porch.
No, it's straight up. It's straight up commentary. It's like off the cuff. It's exactly how I felt.
Mm-hmm.
No, in full honesty, I was at Trader Joe's.
It was authentic.
I was at Trader Joe's during the draft for both days.
Well, I mean, you're not going to know anything about these guys right away, but
right.
if I may save you from yourself.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
Here's the thing about Roman Wilson. And I'm gonna wrap being at the draft around this, the draft party around this, because Roman Wilson was there. Peyton Wilson was there, and I think Zach Fraser was there too. Yeah, he was. And Roman Wilson is really small.
He's a midget.
Yeah. He is
5'11".
He looks like he's 5'8".
Right.
No,
okay.
Seriously.
Okay.
He looks really
So he's about
small.
your height is what you're saying.
He looked that small. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't walk up to him and shake his hand and say, "Here's a Sports Porch card, call us."
Oh,
which I should have probably.
that's exactly what you should have done. That's why I had to rush.
But I mean, there were
buy cards.
There were bodyguards there. I mean,
can you buy me cards? Go ahead.
Are you done?
Yes. Sounds like you shied away from the moment.
Yeah.
It's like you don't want to grow the business.
I
mean, the business is right here, so let's go.
All right, do it.
Hey, so Roman Wilson. The only thing I like about him too is he plays the slot position. We need a slot receiver. I think that's great. And let's face it, looking at Russell Wilson, he doesn't throw it deep. He's going to throw it short. The more guys you can throw short,
yes,
I think it's a good pickup. Do I think he's going to start? It all depends on what happens if they go out and get another wide receiver. But he'll definitely be in there on some packages. He'll definitely be running that jet sweep. That'll be his play for sure. He's fast. He's really fast. That's what I like about him. Supposedly a really good route runner. That's all I got on him. I mean, he played for a championship team, so he knows what it takes to win. Let's go.
And Amy chimes in. Hand out those new cards at CMU and Pitt and get a new technical director.
Hey, it is graduation time over there. Amy.
Yeah.
There are people
Mark,
looking for
you got to
jobs.
do something about Chris. He's just not very good. Okay,
My wife doesn't like it when you imitate her.
I know. That's why I'm doing.
That's why he's doing it.
Of course, she's like, "Hey, could you get us some English peas the other day?" I thought that was fantastic.
Well, you couldn't do that either.
You could have, but you did.
I love the text from him. He's like, "Thanks for making yourself useful." I cracked up the rest of the day about that. That's why I sent you the picture of the empty English peas. Okay, Roman Wilson.
Mark, I have a feeling you don't like this pick.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm going to do is I am going to defer. After we go over the top 5 draft picks, I am going to reveal the Grand Schwabini's bust and sleeper.
Ooh, can't wait.
The Steelers draft.
Roman Wilson is one of those.
Roman Wilson is one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
Is he the bust? Is he the sleeper?
Interesting. Okay.
We'll see.
Hold on.
Amy says, "Where are my peas? I'm hungry." Okay, stay tuned.
Let's get
Roman Wilson. Let's go. This is the one that I think, and I listened to Peyton Wilson, round 3, linebacker out of NC State, the man without an ACL. I don't, there were a few guys that didn't have ACLs. The way I see it is if you don't have an ACL, you can't tear an ACL. But I listened to an interview with his coach.
Yep, I heard the same one.
And now, of course, it's always one of those things where you got to kind of think like, the coach is also looking at his future and his program.
Right.
But the way the guy talked about him, where he said, this guy, he said, if I was an NFL linebackers coach and I was given the chance to pick any linebacker in the entire draft, this is my guy. And I really think this guy could be the steal that the Steelers have been looking for. Maybe the answer at linebacker. Now, of course, as somebody commented earlier, we're getting a little excited.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think this, for the value that he brings, top tackler in college football the last couple of years, a motor that doesn't stop. He's big, he's tall, he's fast. I think it's a great pick.
Well, the reason he had so many tackles was because that team sucked.
Right.
So, I mean, he had to stop a lot
That's
of people.
what you get here on the porch. Honest commentary. I love it. I love it.
Let's just throw that out there.
Right.
But what I do like about him, what he brings that the Steelers don't have, is a different package where you can leave the linebacker out there on third down and somebody who can actually cover the tight end.
There you go.
The tight end's a pretty big position now that the Steelers have had problems covering for years and years and years. This could potentially solve that. And I was surprised to hear his coach say what a great tackler. He said he gets guys on the ground. And a guy that has that kind of speed that it likes to hit, he called him a unicorn. And I'm like, whoa. That surprised me. I wasn't expecting to hear that, because I figured, okay, a linebacker who can cover is kind of a unicorn in itself in the NFL, because you have so many dime packages. You just bring in other players. But if you can leave a guy out there and you can send people after the quarterback, and you have a linebacker who can cover, that's a big deal for the Steelers. That's the thing I like most about this pick. Look, he's not going to start. He'll probably be out there at different packages, but it gives him a different look that maybe other teams aren't going to recognize right away. And being a rookie, that's something that, at least for the first 8 games, could be unique for the Steelers. That's what I like about this pick.
Schwaber.
This is a tough one. So he is not a bust or a sleeper. But this is a tough one for me, because I've heard so many good things about him. I heard one guy say he's like the next Luke Kuechly.
Yeah.
So he's got a ton of talent. And he can cover tight ends, which I think is really big for the Steelers. My only question is, the being injury prone.
Yeah.
That's the tough part of it. It's like I've seen teams, pick a guy that was a first round talent, in the second, third, fourth, fifth round due to injury, and it's like it just doesn't work out.
Yeah.
So look, this is one of those guys where I hope that he stays healthy and has a great career for the Steelers, but it wouldn't shock me if he turns out to be really good and like his second year he gets injured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Possible.
It's just the way some folks are injury plagued. I mean, it was 2 ACLs and, and then a shoulder.
I was going to piggyback on that. He was healthy and wildly productive the past 2 years, though.
2 years.
Yeah. 4 interceptions, a pick six, and 221 total tackles. He's actually had 2 ACL tears, so the only other ACL, and a shoulder injury that kept him out of all but 2 games in 2021. So, yeah, you're kind of flipping a coin with that
one. Right.
Another interesting thing the Steelers love to do, and this is something I didn't know until I read this.
But I do also think it's a good pick where they got him, for sure.
I agree 100%. Yeah.
That's where I expected to see.
Because look, the place that he was selected, 75% of those guys are going to be busts.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, it's a good gamble.
His older brother, Bryce Wilson, pitched for the Pirates from 2021 and 2022 and used to live in the Strip District.
Yeah.
So he's actually familiar with Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
The Steelers do this kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah.
I'm sure other teams do. I'm just not sure they do it to the extent
I don't think they really cared that his brother played for the Pirates. If he played for the Steelers, they might have.
Well,
cared.
no, I'm just saying it's an interesting fact. I mean, it's color. It's called color commentary.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, when you can't come up with any analysis that matters,
that's exactly right.
It's good analysis.
You got to color it in. You got to color it in.
I got to do something. Right. All right, let's go on to the last pick we're going to talk about today. Is in the 4th round. Mason McCormick, a guard from South Dakota State, at pick 119.
I will defer to the bust or sleeper pick.
I like this pick because this is what I see this stuff as. I see this as full blown the Weidl effect. Full blown. Like, what are we doing? We are retooling that offensive line. It may take a couple years, but we're turning it over to guys that can play and are young and ready to go. So I like that pick for that reason.
I will say this. For those of you who don't know, probably to people in Pittsburgh, they think it's unfortunate that I grew up in a place called Philadelphia.
Yeah, we do.
It is unfortunate.
And even more unfortunate that I root for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, we don't care.
Not really.
Although I do have the Steelers as my second favorite.
Yeah, I was going to say.
We don't. You can root for the Eagles.
Yeah. However, I will tell you that when I watched this draft, I felt like I was watching an Eagles draft.
Yeah,
there you go.
For sure. Yeah,
and it's because of Andy Weidl. He's bringing sort of what he grew up with. As a member of the Eagles personnel department. So I think it's good. I mean, look, it's good. I mean, the Eagles got high marks. The Steelers got high marks. These are two teams now. I think you can now say the Steelers, once again, it seems like they know what they're doing.
Yes, I agree with you there. I do want to get this comment in before I get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I saw
Joel says, great. None of these guys have played an NFL minute yet. You know what the grade was on one site for the Steelers draft after 2019, where Devin Bush was picked in round 1, Steelers graded as A-. Right now, all this April chatter is BS. And Joel, you could not be more right.
Yeah, Joel is right.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Nobody knows what these draft picks are
none of these guys could work out. Yeah. We have no idea, but the point is,
remember,
you draft them.
At the time, the Steelers got Devin Bush. They really needed a linebacker, and they stretched because that not only did they get him, they traded up to get him.
I know,
and he was a total.
But
he was good his first year, and he got injured.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well,
he wasn't a superstar.
Look, and how can you not look at this draft and try to grade it and have a good time with it?
Of course you are.
I
like Mike's comment better. Actually.
How can you not root for a guy who played for the Jackrabbits?
I mean, the Jackrabbits. Yes. Come on.
All right. So Mason McCormick, how do you feel about it?
I don't know this guy from McCormick and Schmidt. Okay.
Nice.
I like that.
Maybe he likes fish.
But it doesn't matter because, they got this guy called Pat Meyer. He's the offensive line coach now. He seems to be able to turn guys into really good offensive linemen. And I think that's going to be his pet project when they get to camp. That's what they're going to do. I think they're going to try and turn him into something. They don't need him this year, so it's a nice luxury pick.
Right.
They got it. I think James Daniels signed through next year, and I think Herbig might be up after this year. My guess is they're looking to replace Herbig for sure, and hopefully this guy can do it. If he can't, it's okay. It's a luxury pick. And I like the fact that they're doing that in that position because, once again, if you're going to run the ball, you got to be able to open holes, and you need to have offensive linemen as backup because somebody's going to get hurt when you run the ball that much.
Yep. Schwaber, same thing. How do you feel?
I am deferring.
Oh, okay. The thing about this pick that I think is interesting is this is finally you've got a guy. This is a depth pick. Which they had none on the offensive line. So now,
the other part of it too is it's picking, assumingly so, the best player on your board.
Yeah.
Instead of just trying to find another flashy receiver.
Yeah.
Right.
That's exactly right.
I agree with you.
Yeah. And again, Weidl, Andy Weidl. This is the Weidl effect, which if you know anything about the Eagles and their line, last few
Yeah,
years.
why don't you trademark
Are
that?
we just going to
Weidel
skip
effect?
over
the Weidel effect? You think I should?
Yeah. You like saying it so much.
Yeah, Weidel
I think
effect.
we're just going to skip over the last 2 picks, aren't we?
Well,
Unless there's something you want to say
Well,
about them.
all I'm going to
Anything?
do is I'm going to name them because we're talking about picks. So round 6, Logan Lee, defensive lineman from Iowa. There is, a little depth there because Hayward's getting a little old, Larry Ogunjobi. And then they did get a cornerback from Texas in round 6, Ryan Watts. That's still going to be an issue this year. JPJ, looks like he's got his potential is there. Looks like he had a good year as a rookie.
They'll go out. They'll sign
yeah.
Cam Sutton or something like that.
Yeah.
They'll pick somebody.
Talking to Cam.
Yeah. They'll that's what they'll do. They'll end up picking him back up.
Is that what the rumor was today that I heard on the radio?
Well,
wave?
yesterday was on Twitter.
There was somebody.
He was in for a visit.
There's still talk of them getting a wide receiver.
Yeah, I know. We'll see if that happens.
Significant wide receiver.
We'll see if that happens.
Could be anybody.
Right. Okay, listen, we want to remind you that we dropped the Sports Porch Black and Gold podcast right after this show. So if you can't watch it live when we're on at 7:30 on Monday nights Eastern time, you can always catch up on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. And of course, you can always grab us on YouTube and subscribe. And I'm being prompted now that we have the Grand Schwabini. The Grand Schwabini is now in the house, and we are going to get his takes on, booms, busts, whatever the hell he wants to,
Well, look, the Grand Schwabini does not wish bad on anyone.
Okay.
But
you can see the future.
But I can see the future.
All right.
And unfortunately, the future looks very bright for one young man and not so bright for another.
Yeah.
What do you want to know first, the good or the bad?
I say let's go with the good.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's start with a smile and end with a tear.
The good is Mason McCormick.
Really?
Now, what I can tell you is this.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
If you watch enough NFL films, you might know who Ray Didinger is.
Yes.
Ray Didinger is
the new Mel Kiper?
No. He's like in the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame. I think he's in the National Football Hall of Fame as well.
Yeah. I didn't see his bust.
Mel Kiper is not.
Yeah.
He's a sports reporter.
Okay.
All right. And he's also like multi-talented. He's, but plays together about football and stuff. Is
there any coincidence that he's from Philadelphia?
Well, he's a very bright guy. And and when you live in Philadelphia, he actually just retired last year. But when Ray talks, you listen. Okay. And I'll tell you what, he's almost never been wrong about anything football-wise.
Okay.
Wow.
And what he is he's a total draft geek. And he gets out his old legal pad of paper,
nice.
The yellow pad,
and
he grades everybody. And every year, Amy says Ray is awesome.
I know, it's insane.
Every year, he gives his 5 sleepers.
Okay. This is interesting.
And one of his 5 sleepers was Mason McCormick.
All right.
Wow.
And he just said that he just bullies people, that he's just really good, that he had him like a second, third round grade. And he said he's probably going to go in the 5th round just because he went to a small school, South Dakota State.
Right. Jackrabbits.
But, he said this guy can really play and this guy is going to be an NFL lineman for 10, 15 years.
All right.
So the Grand Schwabini sees as Ray does and sees Mason McCormick maybe sliding into an offensive line spot, maybe due to injury, maybe this year, maybe next year. And he never loses that spot.
Wow. Okay.
Very interesting.
All right. Yeah.
All right.
Bookmark this.
All right.
Bookmark it.
Now make us cry.
Make us cry. The Steelers don't
All right.
know how to pick.
I'm not stoked about the Roman Wilson pick.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly just because I feel like he's very small. And when somebody is very small, look, I mean, there's an advantage to being small in that he's very quick.
Randall L.
Very quick. But the disadvantage is, is he going to get bullied at the line of scrimmage by bigger cornerbacks?
He's not fast.
And some of the stuff that I've seen with Roman Wilson, watching some highlights of him, he goes up and he makes these contested catches.
Yeah.
But I wonder if you're going to be able to do that at this height against the best cornerbacks in the NFL.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be an absolute bust, but this kind of strikes me as the kind of guy who, his rookie year maybe catches 15 balls for 100 yards.
That's a bust.
And runs that jet sweep, doesn't get very far, maybe does an end around, maybe gets you 10, but he doesn't get you that 25, 30 yard scamper you're hoping for. And then the next year you feel like, oh, there's going to be a big leap in year 2. And, maybe he gets 400 yards and 32 catches. I just don't see him as...
Maybe he's the next Calvin Austin III.
Yeah, exactly. I think at best he's going to be Calvin Austin III.
And that would be bad.
Yeah, and that's not a
that's
not a very high bar to set.
No, I mean, also
he got injured too, so let's hope that doesn't happen.
I mean, also too, look, he played for the team that won the national championship, and it's not like this guy was dominating. Now, granted, Michigan runs the ball all the time, and sometimes JJ McCarthy doesn't throw the ball much at all. But
the guy did say that he loves to block, and that might be
that's
his
a positive.
advantage,
That's
right?
a positive. But still, it's even if you love the block. I mean, who else loves the block? Devontae Smith loves the block, and he is not good in the NFL blocking.
Yeah, right.
Because he's a midget.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, you're right. You might get in front of a defensive back, but there's no way you're going to line up against a linebacker and say, I can block you.
Right. I think for him,
not going to happen.
For him to be good, he's got to be really special. He's got to be one of those few guys like that Wes Welker,
right?
Somebody like that. And I just think it's a lot to expect of this guy to be like the next Wes Welker.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's expecting that from him, but it would be nice.
Yeah. Well, this leads me to
try
believe.
to bring you truth, though.
Yes. Well, thank you, Grand Schwabini.
Yes.
For your truth and
You're
your
welcome.
prediction.
You're welcome.
I will shed my tear now.
We're gonna come. We're gonna get a little jingle for him to start this segment.
It'll play out though.
Could you rub the lamp for us just so we have a little bit of?
Hopefully, the Grand Schwabini is wrong, and the wisdom from the atmosphere is misguided.
Excellent. Yes, I'm starting to feel the energy in the room come
wisdom.
down and be very, very calm. I think that the Steelers are still in need of a wide receiver, and all the rumors around them trying to pull off a trade. That leads me to believe that there's somebody in a back room somewhere still negotiating.
Yeah, I think they're still negotiating with Tyler Boyd, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think they're just trying to I think they're just trying to get the contract.
I saw that. I saw something about that today.
Yeah, I think that's what
there's life to the Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, I think so. I think they just want to get the price down a little bit. And the reality is, with the plus $30 million on the salary cap, they could probably afford to keep him. But my deal would be with him, no more than 3 years for him.
Yeah.
And no more than $8 million a year. That's it.
That's going to be
$3 million.
That's tough to get.
No, that's the right price.
That's the right price. But I think what he wants is $10 million for 5 years.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about the rumors of the continuation of Brandon Ayuk versus Deebo Samuel, and the Niners want too much? See, I feel like that's one of the.
No, I think the Niners want to keep him. Actually,
do you?
I don't think they want to sign him this year, and that's the problem. They don't want that headache. Camp. So do you get rid of him before then or not?
I guess what the plan is that after this year you got to pay Purdy. Right. So, if that's the thinking, then, maybe one of them is going to go. Now the Eagles were able to sign AJ Brown and Devontae Smith the same year, but they also don't have dollars invested in other places. They just gave a boatload of money to Javon Hargrave.
Right.
So, who knows?
There was a tweet out today by, I think, Bryant McFadden, who said that the Steelers are talking about they're in negotiations and they're getting close to either trading for or signing a significant playmaker.
Well,
and
that's because he talks to Tomlin. Tomlin's on his podcast all the time.
Right. And so it's kind of like, who does that really, the only guys that are on that list are guys that I wouldn't necessarily consider significant playmakers.
We'll see.
So if it's Ayuk or Debo, then I mean,
on the porch,
I would do that. So if it happens, we'll be talking about it. All right, now it's something I want to talk about, very near and dear to my heart.
We're still talking about them.
No, they're not relevant.
We are going to talk. The pirate is here, and the pirate is very, very confused. And obviously, the Pirates are now still back to being the Pirates. So the Buccos are 14-15, fourth in the NL Central. They just lost 2 out of 3 to the Giants.
That's kind of where they belong.
Their offense is horrible. And this is going back to last week when I went off last week and I said O'Neal Cruz sucks. Remember that?
He got worse.
No, actually, well, the next day he got 3 hits. And I thought, man, just my luck. The guy's going to end up being great, which I would love. But since then, not the greatest. They can't score runs to save their life. They're starting with a 3-game set in Oakland tonight. We'll see where that goes.
They got to win 2 out of 3 in Oakland.
Cruz now has 42 strikeouts. So I think Kyle Schwarber, how many does he have? 44?
Yeah, I think he's leading the league.
All right. So at least Cruz is number 2 in the league in strikeouts now.
He improved.
He doesn't have 7 home runs, does he?
No, he has 3.
Can I ask a question?
No, go right ahead, please.
If the Pirates win in Oakland and nobody's there, do they still count?
That's kind of like if a tree falls in the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, they still count. Okay,
well, because they were there. Because there was more than one person there. They were there.
I saw some statistics on just Major League Baseball and fan bases and percentage of the sellouts.
Yep.
And there's everybody. There's a few teams at the top, like the Braves, the Phillies, and the good teams. There's mostly everybody else in the middle, like Detroit and Pittsburgh and the Orioles, kind of in the middle. And then at the very, very bottom at 10% were the Oakland A's. 10%. 10%.
That's crazy.
So they get like 4,500 people to show up at an empty stadium?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. When you got a big stadium, that seems like 5 people are there.
Right.
Well,
right.
even the Pirates are they 9,000 on a weekend.
Yeah, they might feel more at home when they get home and they're like 10 or 12,000 at PNC. Is it still PNC?
No, they're getting 9. Yeah, it's still PNC Park. Yep. Where the hell are you?
No, because the naming rights are up.
Yeah,
but nobody else has bought them.
Oh,
yeah.
So I don't know if we're
because I don't think anybody else wants to be associated with them. To be honest, hey, this could be our chance.
Sports Porch.
Yeah, we'll give you $500.
You should have spent that money on a big banner.
$500.
We got to put it up over the PNC.
That's what we got to start doing. We got to go to a Pirates game with a banner and stand up in the rotunda.
Sports Porch.
Why have we not been doing that?
Probably because
we haven't been to a game yet.
And also because
there's only 9,000 people there.
To go to the Pirates is depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
If
we don't want to be associated with depressing. Okay. Pat on Track is back in the house, and I'm so glad you're here, Pat. I was worried about you as always.
Yeah, what's going on with him?
I don't know.
He just disappeared.
I think he found a geriatric girlfriend.
Did he find a geriatric girlfriend?
I think so.
Sports Porch Park.
Yeah. Actually, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So Pat says Dave Parker's not walking through that door. Willie Stargell is not. Well, you get it. That's Pat on Track. And yes, Sports Porch Park would be awesome.
Yes, it would be.
I'm telling you right now, I think $500 might get it. And Amy actually agrees with me for once.
Wow. Yeah, how about that?
You know what, Amy?
We should just end the segment.
You're gonna stop making fun of her voice?
Amy, I'm gonna go to Trader Joe's for Mark.
You're being a bastard.
And I'm bringing those English peas home for you, Amy.
There
I'm
you
just
go.
telling you right
Here
now.
come your peas.
Thank you so much.
Amy, I'm gonna hold him down in a chair.
Is that for
and let you smack the crap out of him.
Okay, so last thing on the Pirates right now is that their starting pitching is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, the only starter with an ERA higher than like the mid threes is Mitch Keller.
That's because he signed the contract.
I know. I happen to think that Jared Jones is making a case now more every time he pitches that he's the real deal. And by the real deal, what I mean is a solid, legitimate starting pitcher in the major leagues. Now he's only 5 starts in. Yeah. And will he be the next, Garrett Cole?
That
I don't know.
guy's in AAA right now.
Yeah. So that's right. And so that I hear a lot of people on the radio saying,
but
why are they not bringing him up? Why are they not bringing him up? Well, listen, the Pirates, we don't want them to play the game, the service year game, and all that stuff. And it's like, look, that's the game they play. That's the game every major league team
Do you want
plays.
him to be gone next year?
Right.
Like, why would you want to waste that year of being able to see him? That's like 30 more games you get to see him.
We got to be able to keep him here. That's exactly right. It makes perfect sense. Yeah. So, pump the brakes and just realize
they're not doing the brakes. They're a 500 team. Maybe if he comes up and they're still a 500 team, they can get to 600.
Yeah. To 600.
Dude, that's probably good enough to get a wild card spot.
I know. No, I hear you, but I think it's funny the way you said it too. Right. So, do I think that Paul Skeens will be up here? Yeah, I definitely think he'll be up here. Yeah, because he has been pretty filthy down there at AAA.
Yeah, they'll give people a reason to come to the ballpark in the summer.
That's exactly right.
He'll build some hope. And then they'll, sell some more tickets at the beginning of next year.
The only problem is he only pitches like every 5th game, right? So,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
So they'll at least sell out those games.
But I'll tell you, if Jared Jones continues to pitch, not even as well as he's pitching now, if he just continues to pitch, 80 to 90% as well as he's pitching now, and Paul Skeens comes up and is as advertised up here, you've got a 1-2 punch that. If they're and baseball, once again, baseball is a game of streaks. Okay. Yeah. And right now the Pirates, they're unfortunately, basically every single hitter except Brian Hayes is on a bad streak right now. And even Brian Hayes, he's got a decent average, but he's not hitting the home runs. And when you're playing the hot corner, you got to be a guy that hits the ball over the fence.
You got to hit at least 15 or 20 home runs.
Right. So, if they just and I've given up at this point on Paul Sawinski, the guy,
he needs a hitting coach.
Right.
The Pirates don't have.
Well, and their hitting coach is terrible. So, they don't have the kind of lineup that is going to sustain these. They have in Skeens and Jones, again, as advertised, if they come up with the bullpen, the potential in the bullpen that they have the potential there to keep them in games. What they don't have is a lineup that is able to overcome those low scoring games. I mean, they can't score any runs. Now, a week from now, they pull off 3 against the A's. They sweep those guys, and now their bats get hot. You got to hope the pitching stays hot. We could be talking about something different. And as I said last week, if they're around 500 at the All-Star break, I'll bring back the Buccos report. How about them apples, Grand Schwabini?
It sounds horrible.
Do you mean I sound horrible, or do you mean it sounds horrible?
No. I mean, you do a great job with that report. And for those of you who are diehard Pirates fans, it is a fun report to listen to. So if you do bring it back, we will be tuning in.
For those of you at home, Pat says Chris's dad was drafted twice by Major League Baseball. He looked for honest work. No, Pat, my dad was not drafted. They approached my dad about being drafted back in the 50s, and his parents told him that they would not support that because he could make no money as a Major League Baseball player. So he became, a math teacher. And Amy says, I am not the one with the goofy voice. That's right.
Yes, right. Yep.
Yeah, but I got to try really hard to make this goofy voice. So anyway, okay, listen, thanks for listening to the Sports Porch. We got more segments coming. We got our Trader Joe's product of the week. We got what we're watching. But I think Hockey Jesus is about to jump out of his chair.
I have a question for
good.
Hockey Jesus.
Yeah. Well, let me do this. Let me do this read real quick first and just remind everybody that we dropped the Sports Porch podcast on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts.
Let's pause for a minute while we identify our sponsors.
And actually, this is for Kyle. We have to thank our primary sponsor, of course, the Pittsburgh property diva, Lauren Klein, my wife. I love you, sweetheart. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Lauren.
It's been very, very instrumental in keeping me sane.
Well,
okay. All right.
Left up to interpretation.
All right. Here we go. Hockey Jesus preaches on the podcast on the Sports Porch Black and Gold. And also you can catch him on YouTube. Our YouTube handle is at the Sports Porch Podcast. After every Penguins game during the regular season, without fail, he gives you his analysis and his commentary, and he shoots from the hip, man. He tells you how he feels because he is Hockey Jesus. And right now he's in the middle of the NHL playoffs. And look, if there's Schwaber, if there's anybody more dedicated to hockey that you know, is it him?
Well, yes. But
is this what you were going to get to?
Yeah, let's go.
I've got a question for the Hockey Jesus,
Yes,
which I think is going to really challenge him.
All right.
I'm ready for the challenge.
Let's do it.
What are your insights on the Philadelphia Phantoms taking the baby Penguins out of the playoffs?
Well, you can tell what happened with that series.
That's some
what happened?
Deep hockey.
Well, I'm asking the Hockey Jesus. I do not know.
It's clear what happened. The coaching all got fired at the end of that season. They did.
You mean the baby Pens fired all their coaches?
They just said, everybody, you're not coming back next year. You're all fired. That's what happened. I think they felt like they weren't talented enough to play with them, but they just got their asses beat, and they blamed the coaches. Literally, they fired them. Dubas went down there and just said, "You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. Get out."
Is that exactly how it happened?
Yeah.
Was it on TikTok?
Well, and
fired. You're fired.
And the Hockey Jesus did not disappoint. He had a comment ready.
Oh yeah, I never disappoint. And you know what? This is the best time of the year for hockey. My God. There are only 2 games on tonight, which is actually ridiculous. Normally there are like 4 or more games on. Actually, I don't think they play more than 4 games, but like yesterday there were 4 games on. I watched the 5th game because I didn't stay up to watch the Dallas game, so I actually watched 5 games on Sunday.
Good God.
It was awesome.
That's a ton of hockey.
Dude,
by the way, did you know that Tampa Bay had a goal that they?
Yeah, I did. I saw that. They took the goal away, and since Denver, Hagee scored.
Yeah, okay.
And it's 1-0 Florida.
All right. So insight on the playoffs as of right now.
I'm very surprised that there's only one game that has a chance to go to 2-2 tied in the series. All the games. Well, for example. And I knew this. I think everybody who watched any hockey towards the end of the season knew the Rangers were going to sweep the Capitals. That series was ridiculous. There was no hockey being played. It was just a bunch of goons out there beating each other up, and somehow the puck gets in the back of the net 2 or 3 times by one team and not the other. Ovi looked, by the way, I actually think Oshie might be done. I don't think he's going to play next year. He looked terrible.
Really?
Ovechkin?
Ovi? No.
Oshie. TJ
Oshie.
Yeah, you're seeing the comment from Mike Lawrence here. The Caps got swept. The great Ovi never broke a sweat, hardly scored any points.
He didn't score any points.
All he does is camp out in the face-off circle waiting to shoot the puck. Is that because he's old?
Come on. Are we trying to say that Ovechkin's not good? Seriously?
No. In fairness to Ovi, he did say, like, you can put the blame on my back for this because I wasn't there. I wasn't playing at a high level, and he really wasn't. But the reality is they were totally overmatched by the Rangers. The Rangers play a physical game, and that's what Capitals like to play. And they just don't have the right personnel. So that one's over 4-0. Look, Boston and Toronto to me is a big surprise. I thought Toronto would give Boston a little bit of a push. Toronto's a bunch of garbage. I just can't believe that you can have Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, and Nylander and not score any goals. I don't even think those guys are even in the top 10 for scoring.
It's crazy. I mean, they score 100 points year in, year out now, and they can't win a round in the playoffs.
They can't.
And that was Dubas's former team.
Yeah. Well,
So
they're talking about the coach, probably Sheldon Keefe, probably getting fired, and might be a good idea to stash him down at the baby pens in case Sully.
So
Yeah.
So you
By
said,
the way, I stole that from Mark Madden. He had the idea, and I think that's actually a really good idea.
yeah. So is saying Toronto is garbage? Are they worse than Calvin's garbage playlist?
No,
nothing's that garbage.
No, that's really bad.
But
I think it's good.
But the Washington Rangers series was complete garbage. But as far as Toronto, I don't see any way they come back from a 3-1 deficit against Boston. At this point, it just makes no sense. Look, Carolina's up 3-1. They had a chance to beat the Islanders the other night. The Islanders snuck one out in double overtime. Well, I think that was just a token win, honestly.
Yeah.
I think Carolina takes care of them tomorrow. I'm not so worried about that. In the East, you got Florida playing tonight. If they win, they beat Tampa. That's a bit of a surprise, but I tell you what, Florida's a better team than I gave. Than I thought they were. I thought they were good, but they're much better than I thought.
They are good. Another one of those teams, though, where the mascot makes no sense. There's not a bunch of Panthers running around Florida.
There were at one time.
Yeah, way back, like before.
It's like Buffaloes. New York.
For nothing.
Before nothing. Yeah. You know what? You're outthinking yourself, Grand Schwabini.
Yeah. Well, I had a thought, but I thought it would be inappropriate.
Yeah. Since when has that stopped you? All right.
So I like Florida. I like Florida to probably hold on and win tonight. As far as the West goes, I think this is where all your good hockey is being played. If you didn't watch that Dallas-Vegas game, which I didn't, by the way, but I did record it, and I only had 7 minutes left in the overtime period when Dallas scored to go to be relevant, essentially, because Vegas has won the first two games in Dallas, which when you do that, you pretty much are guaranteed to win. But by Dallas winning in overtime in Vegas, they got a chance, if they can win tonight, to tie this up. That's going to be a really good game tonight. I would suggest to watch that game tonight, 9:30 start. I think that's been some of the best hockey that I've seen so far. Colorado and Winnipeg. Colorado's up 3-1. Winnipeg won the first game of that series, by the way, and Colorado's just ripped off 3 games. I think Colorado is really kind of a team to be reckoned with. They have no goalies, and it doesn't even really seem to matter.
Yeah.
They don't have a goal. I think they'll run into a problem when a goalie, like, for example, Vegas, they have. I don't understand Vegas. How can they find a guy? Where is he? Logan Thompson. He out of nowhere, and he's got a 2.14 goals against. Like, where do they find these goalies that they can just play in the playoffs and they're like gold?
They find them at the craps table.
They must. They must have something over.
So they have a really good defense too.
Yeah,
limit shots.
But you know what? I think New York Rangers defense is much better, and I think that's really masking Shesterkin. I don't think Shesterkin's actually that great. I think he's going to be in big trouble when they have to play against probably Carolina and Vancouver, Nashville. Look, the comeback, come from behind win that Vancouver did on Sunday just was absolutely incredible. They were down 3-1, and somehow, some way, in the last 2 minutes and 35 seconds, they got 2 empty net goals.
That's Canucks hockey.
Unbelievable. If you watch the game, like, it literally came out of nowhere. They got that 6th person on the ice, and it was like they were masterful in the way they would pass the puck and just bam, right in both times. And they ended up winning overtime, like 2 minutes into the first overtime.
So
unbelievable.
So I just, Pat, of course, lives in Florida. So Pat on Track says, yes, there are, as far as Panthers. Lots of wildlife here, many cougars.
That's one of the first things that Pat said that I've really laughed at.
Yeah.
And understood.
Right. Amy wants to know how many Penguins fans watch all of these other hockey playoff games. This is a real question. Just wondering, are Penguins fans just Penguins fans or hockey fans?
Well, there's a guy at work who watches hockey, and I can tell you he doesn't watch all the NHL playoffs, but he's following it.
That's the way I feel.
So there's 2 of you?
Yeah.
2 of us out of 150. So maybe about 45 in Pittsburgh.
I actually feel like that if you are a rabid Penguins fan or a rabid Flyers fan or a rabid whatever fan, maybe a rabid Panthers fan, because
why has everything got to be rabid? It sounds like, they're graveling at the mouth, like with rabies.
Yeah, that's kind of what that word
I
means.
do get that way.
Yeah. Steve Spittle comes out, and that's
okay,
why.
So the rabid fans continue.
I feel like if you're a hockey fan, if you're a dedicated hockey fan of a certain team, that you do watch more hockey. I think it's a different.
I think this type of hockey is like, for example, Edmonton, LA Kings. LA won the first one, and everybody's like, "Oh, Edmonton, poor Edmonton, they can't win." Then, just like Colorado, they poured it on. And in fact, last night Edmonton won 1-0. Like, for that team to be that talented and say, "Hey, we're going to have to pack it in tonight. We're going to have to play really tight. We're not going to loosen it up in the third period. We're just going to win this game 1-0." That's something the Penguins couldn't do and actually needed to do at times. If Edmonton could do that with Stuart Skinner in goal, I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. I don't know who's going to come out of either the East or the West, but right now, if you were to ask me, I really like. I think Carolina's playing great. I think Florida probably is playing the best right now. I'd say Florida's going to come out of the East right now, and I would say out of the West. Boy, I don't know who's going to win, but it's going to be down to Colorado and Edmonton.
And who picked Edmonton in the bracket to win it all?
Yeah, Edmonton's got a real chance.
Right, because you have such great analysis.
Yeah. Nope, it was monkey darts at the board. at a monkey throwing darts at a board. I don't know, man.
You have a pet monkey?
Yes.
He pets his monkey all the time, for sure. You know that.
I am a pet monkey, honestly.
So that's the hockey analysis.
All right,
look,
good stuff.
Here's Pat on
stay
tracks.
Up late, watch your hockey. Tune into the Hockey Jesus if you don't.
Yeah, here's Pat on tracks. Irrelevant comment of the night. Buffalo always leads in NHL playoff ratings, and we haven't made the postseason in 12 years.
Well,
so thank you for
all
that.
the real hockey fans.
Because it's freezing cold and nothing's open.
Maybe you should stay away from the Scotch, Pat. You won't see so many cougars down in Florida. So
maybe you'll see more.
Sorry about that. We love you, Pat. All right. You can catch the Hockey Jesus and his analysis on the podcast, and you drop it in the podcast too. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
On the podcast and on YouTube at the Sports Porch Podcast on YouTube. And when's the next one? When are we going to do this?
I was going to do one tonight, but I think I'm going to wait till Wednesday.
Yeah, I would wait. I mean, we got the show tonight, and it's a big one. So you know what I mean?
I guess this is going to be Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay, cool. So be sure to subscribe. Be sure to leave us a review. We really appreciate that.
I'm getting hungry.
Are you getting hungry?
I got my fork.
I'm so hungry.
Yeah.
I'm hangry.
Yeah. Schwaber is getting hungry.
Got a fork for tonight.
Lay it on us. Here we go.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce. Don't get that honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it tastes with my chicken wings.
No chicken wings.
I gotta hurry up.
Maybe we are getting chicken wings.
What in the world did you make?
I gotta hurry up. I gotta hurry up and turn the song off. All right, listen. This is our segment where we do the Trader Joe's product of the week. It's one of the favorite segments out there. One of my favorite segments. As everybody knows or doesn't know, I work for Trader Joe's in East Liberty here in Pittsburgh. It's a great place to work. I love the job, but I do have to say that Trader Joe's is not a sponsor. They're not paying us to do this. We're doing this on our own. I got permission from some people there.
Permission sounds like sponsorship.
It's not. It's not. But
give him my card. We'll talk.
But what do we do every week? We sample a Trader Joe's product and we give our honest opinion on it. And I'm just looking to get what is the Trader Joe's product of the week this week?
What is it?
The Trader Joe's product of the week this week is, I'm not even sure exactly how to say this, Bulgogi beef fried rice with kimchi.
Oh,
Okay.
kimchi.
So
Okay.
looks
All right.
interesting.
All right.
Here's
So
what I'm
it's
gonna
like
do.
a meal. We're having a meal tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
This would have been better with a spoon.
I understand that. So
Yeah.
here,
You get that. You get that
rice with
now.
some-
put some in there. And if you want, here's your bowl. Here's your bowl, Steve.
Oh, okay.
Grab a bowl.
I got the bottom.
I
I
have.
tell you, this looks fantastic.
Yeah, it smells good too. I have not had it.
Okay.
This
We may
is-
lose Mark for the rest of the show.
I'm gonna give you the. I'll give you a picture of it. It's a frozen food, or
What
it's
do you think there, people?
it's it's frozen. There's what it looks like at Trader Joe's. Bulgogi beef with fried
It does
rice.
smell really good.
Bulgogi beef fried rice with kimchi, with vegetables, grilled beef, and kimchi. You can microwave it. You can heat it
Here
in
you
a
go.
nonstick frying
Coming to
pan. Do you guys want some soy sauce or anything with it?
No way. I'm
No,
eating it plain.
You're eating
Good.
it plain? Okay.
Really
yeah,
good.
I just thought if you wanted to.
Bulgogi. Huh?
Yeah, bulgogi or bulgogi, I don't know, but
Wait, what kind of rice is this? Just this
regular rice.
plain old white rice?
Yeah, it's probably white rice.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm hearing Schwaber and his reaction is telling me that it's good.
Really good.
Yeah. Now I'll tell you what I
don't
do
taste
with
the
it.
kimchi.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. I think it's not your traditional kimchi. I think it's
What is kimchi?
kimchi is cabbage that has been fermented.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
it's good cabbage in there.
it's really spicy. It should be really spicy.
Mhm.
Knock your teeth out.
Actually, I can
Well,
taste
this is
a little
nice.
kimchi, but it's not spicy.
It's nice because it's not spicy.
Right.
I agree. I like it because it's not too spicy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically you take the whole pack and you nuke it in the microwave for 3 minutes and stir it in another 2 minutes.
So I could have this for lunch.
Is that all you
Good.
did?
Absolutely.
Hey, well, that's good, man.
Amy says, looks like dinner for tomorrow night.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. How about you?
Oh yeah, I give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
The only thing that's keeping me away from giving it a 10 out of 10 is I didn't get any kimchi.
Yeah, pass that around again.
Yeah.
I told you
Good
guys to
stuff.
come hungry. Go for
and
it.
and you need to eat it with the spoon for sure.
Oh, do you
Yeah.
want some water?
No, I got a drink with me. I knew this was happening.
Okay. Mm.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry,
9
we're
out of
chewing in
10.
your ears. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I have not tried it either, and I've been watching it. Now, here's one thing I was
The
going to
beef in it is really good.
It is.
Yeah.
Here's one thing I was going to do, and I didn't have time to do it. This was suggested by a guy that I work with, Brenton. He said to take the Thai scallion pancakes, okay?
Yeah.
And then you make what he calls an Asian taco. You take the pancakes and put the bulgogi in the pancake.
Yeah.
So we might try that again. What we might do is we might try the Thai scallion pancakes next week. And
Barkoff just scored. By the way.
doing that. I'm not putting this comment up, Pat on track. I'm just not doing it. I'm just not doing it. I'm sorry. You're off the reservation there. Okay, so we got 3 thumbs up on the Trader Joe's product of the week.
Definitely 2 thumbs up on that one for sure.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
yeah, well, 3. I mean, I'm giving it a thumbs up. Yeah. Oh, you mean 2 total for you?
I have 2 thumbs.
Okay,
I can
know.
give it 2
Well,
thumbs.
I mean, I was counting 1 thumb for each of us. Bulgogi beef, fried rice
3 thumbs.
with kimchi. And Schwab, you think you could take us out while you're eating?
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit. Taste the honey sauce. Taste the goodness of the biscuit with the honey sauce. Don't get that honey sauce on me. I don't like the way it tastes with my chicken wings.
All right. Thanks a lot, Schwaber.
Damn,
Okay, let's see. Yeah, he's right. Okay, last segment of the night. Thanks for watching and listening to the Sports Porch Black and Gold edition on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and Instagram all over the world, and dropping the podcast on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or anywhere you get your friggin' podcasts. Right after the show, subscribe, leave a review. Excuse me. Our last segment of the night is what we're watching. Pretty simple. What are we streaming? What are we watching? What are we liking? What are we not liking?
Yeah.
And that's how we do things. This week, I'm going to start. It's whoever the picture is first, of course, with Mark.
All right.
He is watching. I was thinking about watching this.
Guess what? I watched a documentary.
I wanted to watch this. I'm glad I didn't now.
I watched a documentary. Now, the difference between me and you, though, is when I watch a documentary, it's not about something I already know the outcome of.
Yeah. Oh my God. I can't wait till we get to mine.
Right? So for those of you who don't know, this is basically an experiment in a prison where warden, I think they call him the sheriff or whatever, but he's basically the warden. And what he's doing is at this facility, these guys are in a 23-1 setup, which basically means you're locked behind bars for 23 hours, and then you have 1 hour where you're out in the open. It's pretty bad.
Now, how did they get these people, these volunteers? Are they're volunteers?
No volunteers. It's just a unit in a jail.
Oh, for real?
In a big, in a serious jail.
Do you know where the jail is? They didn't say, right?
I can't remember. I think it's like Midwest or something, but it's very violent criminals. There's a few. There are some people that will leave there, but there are people who are also, waiting trial for murder, and they're going to go away for life.
Gotcha.
It's not the kind of crowd you want to hang around.
Really?
Really.
Okay.
So the idea here is essentially like Louisiana, Amy said.
There you go. Thank you, Amy.
So the idea is, are they really best serving these people by locking them up 23 hours a day? Now, there's different points of view. Some people feel like, they committed these crimes, they deserve it. Some people feel like, but for the ones who are going back out into the public, is this what's best for them? Right?
No rehab.
Right. No rehab. So the idea is they're gonna lock the stores. They're gonna unlock the doors, and they're gonna see if they can do this.
So kind of like a Gen Pop thing.
Yeah, general
population.
Mm-hmm. Seemed like you just wanted to like name drop that you knew what Gen Pop meant.
Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't.
But so I mean, look,
he's been there.
I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it was interesting.
Wait, pretty good's not a ringing endorsement, Mark.
Well, let me put it to you this. Well, first of all, I really, really enjoyed the beginning. I think it's 8 episodes. Probably like the first 4 or 5 episodes I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
The last few I kind of thought were okay.
Drug on a little too
much. But it is really interesting. But the only reason why I say it wasn't really good, which it was. I mean, like, I would definitely say watch it. It's worth watching. But I don't know. There's also just sort of sides of me that sort of feel like, why are we glorifying these horrible people? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like for example, like
they're in jail because they're bad people.
Right. Like there's some guy who's basically in there because he went into somebody's work office and shot and killed somebody, something about, right?
Right.
And so he's facing life in prison.
Right.
Like I can just imagine if that was like my brother that got shot and killed, I'd be like, you see him on this Netflix show getting all this attention and everything. Right. I'd just be like really angry about it.
Well,
I can see that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, you got to wonder if a lot of these documentaries, they have legal teams, and
I'm sure they do.
You got to wonder if they didn't reach out to some of the affected families and say, "Hey, this is what we're doing," and
they might have, or maybe they paid them to do it.
Yeah,
maybe
that's also a possibility.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah. So,
right,
Amy's
documentary.
Yeah,
wow.
Amy says you need to watch it.
I think it was good.
She thinks it's pretty good.
It was pretty good.
Pat on Track says Skinner box experiment. Smart people thinking they can figure it out. I have a problem with the phrase Skinner box.
What does that even mean?
Skinner box. You know what a Skinner box is. You took psychology.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you got a PhD in psychology.
I just don't expect anything intelligent coming from that.
No, it's all intelligent.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
you just can't understand it.
Hey, and for those of you wondering whether or not we speak the truth when we try our Trader Joe's product, neither Steve nor Mark have been able to stop eating it ever since.
It got more spicy. By
Yeah,
the way.
there you go.
Yeah.
See, there was kimchi.
It was lacking a little in the beef.
Mhm.
Either that or Mark took all the beef.
Now, here you go. You want to talk about taking advantage of people. The prisoners weren't paid to do the documentary. They each got $75 at the commissary.
That's probably like $1 million.
Not in today's. I don't know. I have no idea.
Maybe you want to go back and find out.
All right. The Grand Schwabini.
One thing I can tell you,
yeah.
though, have you ever heard the term hooch?
Well, yeah,
Hooch,
it's like alcohol. Yeah. Hooch.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, these prisoners, they make like hooch out of like the craziest stuff. Man, it looks freaking disgusting.
Yeah, but it gets you screwed. It gets you screwed up.
But I'm telling you, man, it looks gross.
Yeah.
Mark,
Like you
what do
know,
they make it out of?
ferment anything.
Do they
Yeah.
make it? Yeah, you can. Yeah, do they make? How about? Do they make it out of poop?
No, that's
you just
Chris.
being disgusting.
that's my segment.
All right.
All right, let's move on.
Guys. Okay. Hockey Jesus is watching something.
I watched it.
Watched Hack Your Health.
Hack Your Health.
The secrets of
The secrets of your gut. Netflix.
this could be. Or did you watch this so you could give me some advice?
No. No, I watched it because I'm really interesting. You know, there's this theory that like that your brain takes signals from your gut, and your gut's more important than your brain in some cases, right? Have you heard this theory?
I haven't.
I
but
watch it in action all the
makes
time.
sense.
Have you seen him in a
Makes
restaurant?
Hey, I'm losing weight, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He is.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
suck it.
There you go.
He must be listening to his microbiome, and that's what this was about.
Yeah. Probiotics.
Yeah, microbiome.
Your
Yeah.
microbiome. There's so many bacteria in your stomach, and the more diverse your bacteria is in your stomach, supposedly, like the better it is for you to be able to digest things.
Oh, so this is a DEI thing.
No, not really. It's more. No, it's literally about bacteria.
Yeah, I got you.
In your belly,
in your stomach.
essentially.
Get in my belly.
in my belly.
Yeah.
And it's really wild. Like they actually have Kobayashi on here.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, what?
The co-
Kobayashi?
That's Star Trek. The Kobayashi Maru.
No, the hot dog
The
eater.
hot dog eater.
Yeah.
And like, I
Okay.
guess. By the way, he's retired from
Is he?
competitive eating now because of this. Like,
Oh really?
he's worried about his what damage he did to his stomach.
Yeah. After 48,000 hot dogs,
No.
he finally decided to,
No, I
start
think
taking
he
care
did.
of himself.
He did say like he guarantees he ate more than 10,000 hot dogs.
I believe it.
Anyway,
believe it.
so they just have people like that, like, and they're like some people who have these really weird diseases. But the reality, what they basically tell you is you need to be more mindful of your eating when you're eating, and actually eating a lot of diverse things, like not eating sugar, not necessarily is a bad thing. Like if you eat everything in like small amounts and you find out what's good for you and what your body can digest, because you can digest something differently than me, than Mark.
Right.
And it's all about the bacteria in your stomach. By the way, you can get tested for this. I'm sure there's some kind of connection to, you know, they want people to take the test. Literally, they check your poop for how many of these bacteria are in there.
This show is about poop.
And no, this gets a little bit more gross. So if you're eating at home, now's a good time to stop eating. There are people actually put pills of other people's poop and
Yes.
eat them.
You know what? I read
Wow.
about. I swear to God, I read about this on the internet.
They're adopting their microbiome that's good for their system.
Actually,
And by the way, doctors say don't do that. So don't do that.
Yeah.
listen on something
It's
like
not FDA approved.
I'll
to eat
try
other
not to.
people's
on
poop.
you know how like when you're scrolling around on like TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, you see these people who are like, you know, it's called like a hack. Like this is a way that you can make money by doing almost absolutely nothing.
Right. You can sell your poop.
You can sell your poop, and like they're saying, like this one, if you send like 2 poops in a day, like over a year, you can make 180 grand or something.
I haven't seen that. Yeah.
But
wow, I'd be a millionaire.
Yeah, but but of course
you have to have the right microbiome.
Yeah, that's the thing. But of course they don't tell you that.
If your microbiome isn't good enough,
it's like you pretty much have to
they're just flushing it.
Yeah, like you have to be like a young, healthy athlete, pretty much.
Right. So I'd be throwing my poop away.
Right.
Yeah.
They'd say
they would say, Chris, we have enough of your poop.
They'd say no good.
We're done.
No good. This is just shit.
This isn't poop. This is shit. But it's worth it. I would suggest if you're interested in learning more about how your gut works and the connection to the brain and bacteria and how they can be good for you, you should watch this.
All I can think about is where have we come as a society when literally we can shit in a box and send it away and maybe make money?
Right.
I mean,
that's insane.
That's great.
Shit's valuable.
It is. Honest, where's DG when we need him? I miss DG. I'm wondering, maybe this is his comment coming in here right now. Come on, DG. No, this is your best show yet, says Amy. I agree. This ain't no shit, Amy. No, I take a probiotic every day. I went through a whole bunch of probiotics and I landed on this one that is it's a more specialized one. It's not over the counter. It's the first one I've taken in years that I have now taken for a couple years that like totally straightened my gut out from a, bathroom time point of view. So
thanks for sharing.
Yeah. And did they say that,
I say we all get our shit tested and see who's got the best microbiome.
That would be a great segment.
That would be fun.
Yeah. The Sports Porch Black and Gold
shit episode.
Shit story. Shit story. So, did they say anything real quick? Because we are way over, but this is a great show.
Yeah.
Did they say anything about like kombucha and sauerkraut?
That
I've heard
kombucha shit scares the shit out of me.
No, what essentially they said, like, is a generic statement was, if you eat 20 to 30 vegetables a week, you're doing fine.
Oh, wow.
That's what that was the blanket statement.
This entire story just to get to eat 20, 30 vegetables.
The blanket statement.
No, it gets much more minute the further down you go. Like you can go down to 6 or 7 rabbit holes in this show.
Gotcha. Pat on track. Batshit crazy is a real thing. I know. I was married to it for many years. All righty.
What is your?
What are
you guys? You guys are going to crucify me.
Okay, tell me about the
This
documentary.
should take about 30 seconds.
You're going to crucify me.
I'm ready for it.
But I'm having a great time with it.
I'm ready.
Of course.
Oh God.
Of
Okay,
course.
wait a minute.
I've
got an idea. So there's going to be this guy.
By the way, people on the podcast, OJ Made in America.
Filmed in 2016.
Yes. So I got a feeling
which I never watched before.
I got a feeling this is going to be about a football player, a fantastic football player.
One of the best football players in the 70s.
One of the best ever. Also on commercials, like Hertz commercials. Really famous guy. Showing up in movies like Airplane. Just a celebrity. A guy's guy. And he's going to marry this beautiful blonde woman. And
they have a great life together.
And uh-oh. Murder. She's dead. And then what happens?
Car chase
in the Bronco. I bet they covered that. They probably covered
trial.
If the glove don't fit, you must have quit. Johnny Cochran. They probably covered that. I have a feeling they probably covered Kato Kalin when he was just sitting there in the court and just being like, "Hey, I didn't see anything, man. I didn't see anything.
Going on.
I don't know what's going on." I'm sure they covered Marsha Clark being so venomous, and Shapiro in the beginning, and then all of a sudden, not guilty. Everybody gets upset.
I think you got it.
Was it good?
You nailed it.
Was it good? Tell us if it was at least good.
Yeah, it was pretty good. All right, thanks for watching the Sports Porch Black and Gold and listening to the podcast.
Oh, my.
Pat on Track's last comment, Hockey Jesus is owned by Big Veggie. I love that. That was actually not a bad comment.
I like it.
Not a bad comment. All right, we're going to drop the show on the podcast on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or anywhere you get your freaking podcasts.
You see his comment? That guy ran for 11,000 yards from the police.
From the po-po.
From the 5-0.
All right, guys. I am your technical director, and I am out. Jablonsk!